You're watching the show that puts Mid-Michigan news in focus. This is Focal Point. Tonight on Focal Point, I'll explain to you why you may have noticed one local produce item has been a little cheaper recently.
Coming up on Focal Point, will a new proposal create a student community bike share? We'll have more.
And we'll take you to the scene of this year's homecoming festivities. Focal Point starts now.
Good evening, I'm Alex Barhorst.
And I'm Greg Monahan. Welcome to Focal Point.
Well, if you haven't picked up any fresh apples yet this fall, there's no rush. After last year's decimated crop, apple farmers are reporting larger harvests, and local stores have plenty of stock. However, too much of a good thing may not be as profitable as some may think.
Here on Clearview Orchard,
Hey Rick, how are you?
it's business as usual.
Back for some more Honeycrisp? Yeah. All right.
Small orchards like Kathy Carson's aren't affected as much by the ebb and flow of apple seasons.
We keep it really small and simple, so it's quiet for the family. Yep. Yes, they do.
Even when apple harvests across the state
This year is a bumper apple crop.
are expected to set records.
This year, all throughout the state, the amount of apples grown is a lot bigger than normal.
This year's limb-busting crop is expected to top 30 million bushels, stocking grocery store shelves while most customers
I haven't really thought about it.
don't question where they came from.
I used to live in Newaygo and work in Muskegon, and I'd drive by all those apple crop. I guess I just kind of took them for granted.
While local orchards can hold stable prices, bigger ones can't seem to sell their apples cheap enough.
Well, if you want to see the effects of the oversized apple crop, you can head down to your local superstore like Meijer. Here, a pound of apples is going for 60 cents today. The overabundance of apples is causing prices to get really competitive.
Even in a challenging season for growers, the bushel of mid-Michigan orchard businesses
We've had a really good year. The weather this fall has been beautiful.
had a few good apples.
This is our last day, actually. We're closing after today, so our sales have been really well.
Most Michigan apples are meant to be grown and sold fresh, but if vendors can't get them off the shelves fast enough, they can be stored for a less fruitful year.
After more than 2 weeks in shutdown mode, the federal government is now back in business, at least for the time being. Congress voted Wednesday to end the shutdown, extending the debt ceiling through February 7th. President Obama signed the bill late Wednesday evening, allowing furloughed workers to come back to the office immediately. House Republicans have been arguing over funding for the new health care law, but finally conceded after the Treasury Department warned that the government would run out of money within a day. President Obama is glad the shutdown is over, but warns of the damage it has created.
We know that just the threat of default, of America not paying all the bills that we owe on time, increased our borrowing costs, which adds to our deficit. And of course, we know that the American people's frustration with what goes on in this town has never been higher. That's not a surprise, that the American people are completely fed up with Washington.
For the near 2 weeks that the government was shut down, some students had difficulty getting research done as many federal websites were not available. Some websites were completely shut down, while others had banners across the top indicating that the sites would be available, but information would not be updated. This got some concern, but some web pages like the FBI and Amber Alert sites would have been updated if there were a threat to national safety or security.
We had to go to BEA.gov to look at some old economic charts in order to kind of analyze them. So we weren't able to get to it because of the government shutdown. So our professor ended up, at first he postponed it, but eventually, it's still shut down. He ended up putting some different slides on Angel, and we got it from there.
Since the shutdown is now over, these government websites are finally back up and running. And it's not every day that a community gets to try one of our nation's toughest and most noble jobs, being in the military. Focal Point's Daniel Hamburg takes us to MSU's campus to show us how some students recently got that opportunity.
Do you want to sign? Okay, here you go.
Marin
Lauren Chesney wanted to find out what it's like to be in the ROTC.
It's been great to talk to different people and just see their how being part of ROTC has affected them.
And on the 12th anniversary of the September 11th attacks on this country, she had a chance to find out.
Perhaps I'll put my hair down. You can do that.
Chesney, a senior at MSU, came to explore the battalion showcase and admits this lifestyle would take some getting used to.
And it looks fairly comfortable for a few nights, but to live there for months would be definitely interesting and definitely a challenge.
But that didn't stop Chesney from testing her skills.
There you go. Seeing them kind of do it before me made it look super easy, and it was not easy at all. And I didn't have any sort of backpack on or any additional weight, and apparently the backpacks can weigh up to 100 pounds, so that'd be quite a challenge.
While some tried their survival skills, others learned how to prepare for combat.
This is a duck. It's a fake M16, which is the rifle that we use, and so obviously even if we have fake plastic weapons, we treat them like they're real. But yeah, and it's supposed to simulate it being loaded and how heavy it is.
The ROTC partnered with the organization One Book, One Community to help give civilians a glimpse into military life through the book The Yellow Birds, written by Kevin Powers.
We're thrilled that One Book and One Community chose the military book this year, so it gave us the opportunity to kind of put on this event and work and really sort of build this sense of community while at the same time having a chance to showcase our battalion and show what we're all about here.
I've always really loved the One Book, One Community events, and the books have always just been wonderful. So I thought this would be pretty neat to do.
Whether you scale the one-rope bridge, nap on a cot, or feel the weight of a rifle, the ROTC hopes people like Marin will learn something about their program. For Focal Point, I'm Daniel Hamburg.
For more information on the ROTC, visit armyrotc.msu.edu.
Well, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and MSU bakers are cooking up something special. While the rest of campus is sleeping, baker Rita Lyon is hard at work, making her October specialty, Gwen's Bagels for a Cure. The bagels were inspired by Rita's mother, Gwen, who passed away from breast cancer. Lyon hopes that her bagel sales can help fight the deadly disease.
It's been very successful. We sell them in the residence halls, and Sparties carry them as well, and we sell them retail. And every dollar of our retail sales, which is a half dozen, goes to the American Cancer Society.
Well, the bagels are full of dried cranberries and are available at Sparty's locations across campus.
And coming up on Focal Point, we'll tell you why some MSU faculty are telling students to ditch their textbooks for a day to come out to play.
And another MSU homecoming is wrapped up. Find out how fans celebrated during the week before the big game.
There are moments of triumph, of discovery, and achievement. But what makes these moments possible? It's the early mornings, the late nights. It's having the will to persevere. So let's take a moment to celebrate. But more importantly, let's salute the will it takes to get there. Spartans will.
When I was green, greener than the hill, where flowers grew and the sun shone still. Now I'm darker than the deepest sea. Just hand me down, give me a place to be.
MSU's Media Sandbox is having their first ever fun fair in the College of Communication Arts and Sciences. Greg Monahan now joins us live to let us know what's going on at the fair. Greg?
Thanks, Alex. We are live in the Comm Arts building right now at the Media Sandbox Fun Fair. And there is a lot going on. I got popcorn to my right, live music to my left. But first, I want to check in with the event coordinator, Shelby Robinson. And Shelby's right here. Shelby, tell me what exactly is going on today, and what is Media Sandbox?
We've got a lot of activities going on. We've got popcorn, as you can see. We've got a ton of live music. We've got various technology booths, a 3D printer. We had Google Glass here earlier. We've got a photo booth. lots of fun things to build the community. The Media Sandbox is basically a creative curriculum and a creative community, so we're trying to build that part up and get students involved.
All right, you want to go check it out? Sounds good. Let's go. Now this is a technology display. We've got a 3D printer. We've got a representative from Apple, and we've got somebody who can make anything. And then Shelby, what is outside today?
Yeah, we've actually got a dunk tank. So for about an hour, students can come and dunk Carl Good, one of the creative Media Sandbox professors, for free, and watch him get dunked in his wetsuit. So.
All right, so if you want to dunk a professor, today is your opportunity.
Today until 3:30 p.m.
All right. Well, what else do we have going on here? I see that we've got some not beer pong, but water pong, and even cotton candy. And is there anything else here?
Cotton candy, free hot dogs. We've got free beverages, photo booth up front. So lots of fun things going on.
And how's the turnout been?
It's been pretty good. You know, we didn't really know what to expect. This was our first big event, but this has been an awesome turnout today.
And now I saw the representative from Google Glass is here. Have you gotten a chance to try that out yet?
You know, I didn't. A lot of students did, though, and it was crazy. You can take pictures and take pictures of your friends, and they had a lot of fun with it.
And then I noticed another thing is the lady right here who will make anything for you.
Yeah, she's actually from the Lansing Makers Club. They do a lot of hands-on building and creating, and really, really cool people.
All right, well, she is, looks like she is ready to make just about anything. She's got wires, she's got lights, and there is so much going on here, I can hardly even handle it. So we will throw it back to the studio. Thanks for joining us at the Fun Fair here in the Com Arts building.
Thanks, Greg. Well, seeing chalk advertisements on campus streets isn't that unusual, but one campaign certainly has people talking. WTF MSU has been seen on sidewalks all across campus over the last few weeks. Some thought it stood for something a little more vulgar, but in fact it's the latest campaign from the Associated Students of Michigan State University, hoping to get students talking about what to fix on MSU's campus. Utilizing Twitter and Facebook, ASMSU is the mediator between students and staff, working to get things done around the university.
I think it can help with students like getting involved in what they think MSU needs to be fixed, like what needs help here.
Students can tweet about the issues using the hashtag WTFMSU and receive a timely response from the department responsible for fixing their problem. Thousands of Spartan students and alumni got in the homecoming spirit last week by making their homes glow green. The MSU Alumni Association passed out more than 5,000 green bulbs to encourage fans to swap out their front porch light and show their Spartan pride. Many MSU landmarks glowed green, including Spartan Stadium and the Breslin Center. And from the streets, many dorms were lit up with flashing lights and glowing rooms.
I think it shows to everyone like we're kind of, proud to be part of the, MSU faculty or students here, and proud to be, part of it, show our spirit with it.
Consumers Energy donated the bulbs for the initiative that started 2 years ago. You can see the photos of the Glow Green contest at the Alumni Association held by visiting MSU Alumni on Facebook or searching Twitter using the hashtag GlowGreen13. Homecoming spirits were high as members of various MSU clubs showcased their creativity while building festive floats. Dozens of students involved in campus groups worked late into the night in Spartan Stadium to build the best homecoming parade float imaginable. The students embraced this year's homecoming superhero theme, finding ways to construct comic book heroes, notorious villains, and everyday superheroes. MSU students said float building allowed them to show off their campus groups in a creative way.
And we have all these billboards coming out of our skyline that say different things on them. And we have we're gonna have a superhero Jesus coming out of the billboard. So it should be sweet. So not cheesy at all. Yeah, exactly. So.
Floats were ready for the big parade Friday evening, bringing students, alums, and residents to the north end of campus. Floats, dancers, and marching bands flooded the streets of East Lansing to celebrate the Spartan superhero-themed homecoming weekend. The parade made its way from Abbott and Bircham all the way down Grand River before turning on Farm Lane and finally ending on Shaw. It lasted a little more than 2 hours with an estimated 10,000 attendees. It wouldn't be homecoming without a grand marshal, and this year MSU invited an alum to help celebrate the superhero-themed week. Jeff Johns, the chief creative officer at DC Comics, came back to the city where he spent his college years in the mid-90s. Johns had worked on a number of comics, writing Superman, the Green Lantern, and the TV series Smallville. He stopped by the Communication Arts and Sciences building to chat with students and answer questions about the Michigan State University and how it helped him find success in such a competitive field.
It prepares you for everything. The opportunities are right here. And my biggest advice to you guys is to find those opportunities, find those people that share your passion, and go for it.
University officials immediately thought of Johns after deciding on the superhero theme. A proposed bike share program aims to get students moving while decreasing clutter across campus. Focal Point's Greg Monahan shows us how the program might work.
With enrollment nearing 50,000 students, MSU's campus has a problem.
Our bike racks are oversaturated.
Michael Mazzina and the MSU student government say they have a solution. A proposed bike share, similar to programs seen in a number of large cities.
So the idea is create a bike sharing community where we can decrease the number of individual bikes we have by allowing students to have a service that gives them the opportunity to share with other students.
The initial plan is to purchase 40 bikes. Interested students could either purchase a $50 membership that lasts the entire calendar year or rent bikes as needed at $1 per hour. Some students like that idea.
I think that'd be a good price.
The $50 would cover everything, so students wouldn't need to worry about paying for fix-ups or new parts.
I have a friend who already spent $90 on his bike this school year alone, so I think that'd be pretty beneficial.
But after the entire implementation of the project, its final price tag will be $60,000, which has raised questions from students.
It seems like a lot of money. I heard like $60,000 for something as small as 40 bikes, and obviously, as you can see, like, we already have enough bikes.
And since many students already have bikes, it's hard to know if enough will be interested.
I've seen bike share programs in like Boston and New York City, and they seem like a good idea, but I don't think they'll fit for MSU's campus.
Now another issue is making the math add up. ASMSU hopes that 1,000 people will be participating in the program, but their initial purchase only involves 40 bikes. Now there are 40 bikes behind me right now, and while I couldn't get 1,000 people to join the shot, you may see how that could cause an availability problem. If availability does become an issue, ASMSU will expand the program.
It's not a high number of bikes now, but we definitely see it expanding to, say, a couple hundred bikes to really meet our student population and our student need.
If all goes according to plan, within a few months, MSU's student bike share program will have its wheels in motion. For Focal Point, I'm Greg Monahan.
If the program is adopted, we could see student community bike racks on campus as early as the upcoming spring. MSU students packed the Breslin Center earlier this month to try and get a step ahead in the corporate world. The MSU Career Gallery returned for another year, featuring thousands of students and hundreds of employers. The event, sponsored by the MSU Career Services Network, spanned 2 days and gave more than 5,000 sharply dressed Spartans an opportunity to get their foot in the door of big-name companies. Armed with resumes, attendees spoke to potential employers and recruiters about open jobs and internships.
Because I'm exposing myself to all different kinds of companies, all different kinds of people who are really nice. A lot of them are Michigan State alumni, which is really nice to have that Spartan connection.
Employers from just about every imaginable profession attended the career fair, which saw one of its largest two-day crowds ever. Coming up next in sports, we'll take a look at the beginning of the MSU hockey season and what Coach D'Antonio thinks about playing Purdue this weekend. These stories up next in sports with Greg Monahan.
They've been called leaders, lifesavers, and world changers. They're also called Spartans. There are moments of triumph, of discovery, and achievement. But what makes these moments possible? It's the early mornings, the late nights. It's having the will to persevere. So let's take a moment to celebrate. But more importantly, let's salute the will it takes to get there. Spartans will.
I'm Greg Monahan with this week's sports. The Spartan football team took on Indiana last weekend, hoping for a win at the 500th game played in Spartan Stadium. Indiana came in with the top-ranked offense in the Big Ten, facing a top-ranked defense in Michigan State. State got down early, but came back with the help of Jeremy Langford, who had 109 yards and 4 touchdowns on the day. Connor Cook threw for 235 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception, helping the team to a decisive 42-28 victory. Langford received Offensive Big Ten Player of the Week honors for his efforts, and Coach Mark D'Antonio was happy to see the offense finally come alive for a convincing homecoming win.
We can continue to get better, and that's the exciting thing. But we're focused. I think we're focused as a football team. Our guys are hungry, and it was great to get a win in Spartan Stadium on the 500th game.
Now the team is gearing up to play Purdue at home this weekend, and Coach D'Antonio hopes to keep the momentum going.
Opportunity to go 6-1, opportunity to get bowl eligible. That's where our focus has to be, and certainly on Purdue. And then the other thing I think that we have to recognize is, we've handled adversity here. We've been resilient at times. We need to be able to handle some success too, and that comes with discipline and maturity.
Kickoff is set for noon on Saturday. And Spartan football fans are excited that the team is now 5-1. In this week's Sidewalk survey, we talked to many students on campus to get their thoughts on the homecoming win against the Hoosiers.
We're staying solid. The offense is getting better, I think. I don't know. I think we might be able to improve, but we're definitely improving from where we were at the beginning of the year. So
I was shocked, especially within the first minute they scored a touchdown. So I thought that for sure we were going to get creamed, and then we actually played really well. So I was happy.
I think we got a good chance of making it to the championship. I don't think we're going to win because it's going to be Iowa State. I don't think we're going to beat Iowa State, but we should still be, if we keep working on what we're doing right now, we should make it to the Capital One Bowl.
Our offense, okay, it's a lot better than it was at the beginning of the season. I do like Connor Cook.
From football over to hockey, the Spartan hockey team took to the ice at Munn Arena this past week, officially marking the start of a new season. With brighter and more energy-efficient lighting at Munn, the Spartans are now one of 6 members in the Big Ten Hockey Conference. The team began warming up for conference play last week with an exhibition against Western Ontario. And the offense is a question mark for the team with 5 freshman forwards, but the Spartans were able to turn in a 4-1 victory.
Things were just kind of working out. I think, my line mates played extremely well. And, it was a team game. Our D were good at, getting the pucks up ice, so we were able to create some offense out of that.
I thought we saw some good things. It was nice to give some of the younger guys a real good look today. We gave them a lot of ice time so we could see, where they're at in their game. And it's nice to get a good result. And at the same time, we know we have a long way to go and work on a number of areas of our game to get where we want to get to.
The Michigan State volleyball team extended its winning streak to 15 games this past weekend, taking down a pair of Big Ten opponents. The Spartan ladies swept Iowa on Breast Cancer Awareness Night Friday, 3-0, and continued their hot streak the next day with a 3-1 victory over nationally ranked Nebraska. The pair of home victories boosted the team's record to 17-1, including an unbeaten 6-0 in Big Ten play. The wins lofted the team to a number 5 ranking in the nation, but despite their early season success, head coach Kathy George is keeping a level head.
So when we go through a season, I just like to look at everything one game at a time, and quite honestly, I keep forgetting about what our record is. I don't, because we're really only 5 games into the Big Ten, and there's so many matches left.
However, the team had its first hiccup of the Big Ten season on Thursday night, dropping a road match in Minnesota to the Golden Gophers 3-2. They'll look to start a new winning streak on Sunday afternoon in Madison when the ladies take on the Wisconsin Badgers. That will air on the Big Ten Network. And baseball fans in Detroit are hoping the Tigers will secure a spot in this year's World Series. The Tigers are playing the Red Sox in the American League Championship Series, and after tying the series at 2 games apiece, the Tigers lost last night 4-3 at Comerica Park. They now face an elimination game as they travel back to Boston for Game 6 on Saturday night. Max Scherzer is scheduled to toe the mound for Detroit. And that's what's happening in sports. We'll send it back to Alex Barhorst.
Well, finally tonight, we take you back out to the Media Sandbox Fun Fair for some live music from Wayne Zielinski. Together, since the spring of 2012, the indie rock band is composed of 4 Michigan State students who play gigs around the Lansing area while Max bar in the loft. Let's listen in for a few seconds.
And that will do it for our show tonight. Thank you so much for joining us here on Focal Point. I'm Greg Monahan.
And I'm Alex Barhorse.
Good night, everybody.